Are you addicted to the scroll? Do you ever find yourself opening the Instagram/TikTok app? You watch a couple of videos, they make you laugh or they're a little bit interesting, and then the next thing you know, it's been 3-4 hours and all you've done is just sit there and scroll the TikTok Instagram feed. I am definitely guilty of that, and that's what I want to talk about today, is why I deleted Instagram/TikTok and how we can foster a more positive relationship with those apps, and what I do to manage my social media addiction, because it is a real crisis. Please excuse my crazy hair. I curled it yesterday and now it's fallen out and looks like a wet mop, so that's what we're going with today. I guess I wanted to start off with how I started to get into social media. I actually got into social media at a very young age. I was uploading YouTube videos in 2008 when I was literally 8 years old, making funny videos with my cousins. I got Instagram when it first came out. I think I got it in 2011. I got TikTok when it was still Musically in like 2016, so I have definitely been one of the OGs when it comes to social media, because I have been on it for so many years and it has been a big part of my childhood and a big part of developing my formative years. In knowing that, it has definitely had a big impact on my psyche and the way that I think, the way that I have expressed myself, the way that I communicate and interact with my friends and my family and other people in the community. Throughout the years, I've always liked to go on social media and I've always wanted to post things and share things and connect with people through social media. That's why I'm on YouTube. I love sharing my thoughts and opinions on things. But I guess in the past couple of years, and particularly in the past couple of months, it has gotten to a point where it is just horrible, and the apps definitely have changed throughout the years. So before, when you were on Instagram, you only saw things in your feed and there was an explore page, but it wasn't super curated. So even though some of the things would be targeted to you, it was easier to not get addicted to it because they didn't really relate to you or you didn't find them interesting. So you'd only see posts of people that you follow, like friends and family or celebrities. Evolving over the years, Instagram and TikTok have become so good at targeting content to the user and that makes it so that almost every video you see or every post that you see is relevant to you in some way, and that keeps you on the apps. And there has been research that shows that being addicted to social media, it causes a dopamine hit, which makes you light up in your brain, gives you a feel-good chemical, and that is why you keep scrolling. Also, the unpredictable nature of what you're going to get next. The people that are designing these apps, they understand psychology, they understand marketing, they know how to target users to keep them on the app, because time is their biggest currency, because they want to sell ads to us. So they're using every tactic they can to suck us into these apps and keep us on them for as long as possible. People have compared them to slot machines at casinos. The way that casinos are designed, where there's a dark environment, there's no windows, so you can't see what time of day it is. The slot machines are very addictive and you keep wanting to put in more money because you don't know whether you're gonna win the next one. Instagram and TikTok have used those strategies to lure us into the app. For example, on this screen, you can't see the time at the top, it's covered. So that makes you lose track of time because you don't even know how many minutes you've been spending on this app, and that's why it can so easily just be 1, 2, 3, 4 hours that you've just been scrolling. So they've used these mind tactics to suck us into the app, and I am definitely a big victim to this. I think majority of our population is addicted to these apps, and I think I finally came to a point where I was just like, enough's enough. I could not keep on wasting my time on these apps. Like, I would literally be sitting there for 3 hours not doing anything productive, not having fun, not like finding other things to do with my life, and it was a miserable existence. I think the good thing about Instagram and TikTok and those kind of social media apps is there is a lot of pros to it. Like, for example, there's lots of tutorials to show you how to do things, there's food ideas for cooking, there's travel tips and travel inspiration, which I love to see because then I'll be like, oh, I want to go there next time. Or there's helpful advice on there. So there's definitely a lot of good things about these social media apps, but I think at the end of the day, those positives don't outweigh the negatives that comes with the app of being addicted to it, not being able to get off the apps, a lot of self-comparison when you see other people's lives that often they're not even the people around you, they're not your community, they're, you know, celebrities or people that come from very wealthy, affluent places, because those are most of the people that would get popular on Instagram and TikTok and social media in general. So you're comparing your lives to all these people that have so much, and you're like, oh, you start to feel a bit bad about yourself for not having those same things when there's so many people that don't have those things, and it makes you less grateful for what you do have. So I think that was also really toxic. Also comparing your looks to them, because obviously social media is a highlight reel and you're going to post the best times of your life. I have definitely been a perpetrator of that. Obviously, I'm going to be looking my best. I'm going to be posting when I go on holiday. And this warps our perception, thinking that everyone has these perfect lives and they don't go through struggles. Obviously, you know, you can rationalize and be logical and be like, oh yeah, everyone goes through stuff. But when you don't see it, it can become very insular and you feel like you're the only one, you know, going through bad stuff. Those are kind of like the negatives that outweigh the positives, and why I've kind of taken a step back from social media. I now dedicate a lot of my time to YouTube videos, and even though I do spend a lot of time watching YouTube videos, a lot of the times they are educational content that I can learn things from, so I actually don't mind that. Like, I watch a lot of documentaries, a lot of information and factual videos on history, on linguistics, on economics. I find YouTube a much more controlled environment where I can seek things that I want to know. Like, for example, if I want to have a certain tutorial that I want to watch, I can search that up. If I want travel inspiration, I can search up travel inspos and vlogs and things like that to give me ideas on what to do. It gives me more power and control over what kind of content I'm consuming, rather than letting the app decide for me what I should be consuming. So that is why I've kind of moved away from short form content social media like TikTok and like Instagram. I have Facebook, and that's mostly because I still like to keep in touch and chat to my friends and my family, so I still have that. Sometimes I'll delete the actual Facebook app because I find that once you get rid of one scrolling mechanism, you can easily use that same habit for another app. So I found myself scrolling on Facebook, but a lot of the times it's really boring, so you kind of like scroll for a bit and then you just leave. I have Snapchat, but I don't really use that because I don't really talk to anyone on Snapchat. Like, anyone that talks to me either texts me on my phone or messages me on Facebook. I feel like in Australia, Messenger is kind of the main form of contact that people use, or in Sydney at least. Funny thing is, when I stopped scrolling on Instagram, I started scrolling on my photos and looking back at photos, which is really strange, and it just kind of shows how embedded my addiction to the scroll is. That's pretty insane. I was also noticing my screen time being so long. Like, it would be like 10 hours a day, which is most of the time that I'm awake. That is so bad. So cutting out apps that take up a lot of my active time, that has also helped free me up time to do other things, like read, like making YouTube videos, like focusing on my work. So I have found that that has been really helpful for also maintaining my focus and attention. Even though my screen time is long still, a lot of the times I'll have like a YouTube video playing in the background and it's kind of like a podcast almost, because I really enjoy long form content where I can just have something in the background and do whatever I need to do. So even though my screen is still on, I'm not actually actively scrolling on my phone the whole time. I can actually free myself up to do things. I guess those are kind of all my reasons for why I've deleted all of those apps off my phone, such as Instagram and TikTok. So many of my friends and family are like, just re-download it so you can see this and that. And yes, I do kind of find it inconvenient sometimes when you want to like search up a restaurant business or something like that, but I found my ways around it. So now I'm going to go through what my relationship is like with those apps. So with TikTok, I don't really use it. I don't really ever go on it because even though I was addicted for a time, I just cut it off and that's been that. I haven't really found a sense of grief over that, I guess. I still have a TikTok account, but it's super inactive. I don't use it. If my friends want to send me something, I just tell them to record their screen and then send it to me. So sometimes there is a sense of FOMO when you're not on these apps, but I found that ever since I got rid of TikTok, I had a bit of FOMO, but it wasn't that bad. Instagram is a different story because I've had Instagram for so many years. I have so many photos on Instagram that I've personally posted, and that's something that I don't want to get rid of as well, because I do like that I have something to look back on of core memories in my life. So I'm still going to continue posting on Instagram when I have specific photos that I want to post, because I like having like a curated album, and I think that's a really positive side of Instagram. I love posting stories as well when I'm doing something fun and exciting and I want to remember the experience, because I love looking back at my story archive and being like, oh, this is what I did on that day. Oh, that's another reason why I still have Snapchat, is because I like seeing the memories that pop up on the Snapchat, because sometimes it's just nice to have a reminiscing moment or have a bit of nostalgia. So I do still keep my Instagram account up and open for that reason, but if I do want to access Instagram, I either go on my laptop, which is a whole different experience and it isn't as addictive. You kind of just like see a few things. I can quickly check my messages if anyone's messaged me and then leave it at that. Or I access it on a browser, which also, because it's so clunky, it's really like non-addicting to use. Or if I want to post something, like say if I go on holiday, I will re-download Instagram so that I can post my holiday and so I can remember those memories in the future. I will re-download the app and post those things, but then when I come back from my holiday, I will delete it again, because I feel like on holiday I'm not really prone to scrolling as much, because I'm more interested in doing the things that I want to do on holidays. I'm not going to be there sitting on my phone scrolling, and even if I do, it's more like downtime where like I'm not really doing anything, so I don't feel bad like wasting time. Whereas at home I'm like supposed to do something, but then I'm like scrolling 3 hours in bed. So yeah, that's kind of a sustainable way of using those apps. Let me know what your ways of using these apps are, because I would love to know if I could add anything else, because I don't want to delete Instagram fully, but I do think that having those boundaries really help. I did try the screen time thing, but that didn't really work because I would just like ignore the limit and then keep scrolling. So deleting it off my phone entirely has definitely gave me a barrier. If I want to use it, I can't just click on it. I have to make the conscious effort to like re-download it and sign in again, which those 2 extra steps actually keep me from accessing the app, which is great. So this was a little bit misleading because I haven't deleted Instagram fully, but I think I've kind of figured out a more sustainable way to use it, because I still think, again, there are pros of it, but the cons of having it on my phone constantly definitely outweigh those pros. Let me know what your thoughts are on this social media addiction, whether you struggle with this as well, what your strategies are, because I would love to know. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.